Your iPad is either your secret productivity weapon or a time wasting machine. And the difference, it's not the apps, it's how you set it up. Most people let their iPad run wild with the distraction. So, in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can tame it to 10x your productivity. One of the things that really helped me with my productivity is that my iPad, I had to customize it. It has less distractions and I'm able to get what I need to get done on the iPad without any social media apps, without it clashing with my personal time and personal stuff. And so I had to give a separation with regards to my devices for my business and content creation. So the first thing I want you to do is set up a dedicated Apple ID strictly for your business or for work. This is going to ensure that you are keeping your personal separate from business. This applies to everything from emails to business accounts and all the things, but when it comes to your devices, you want to ensure that you are doing the same. If you're using your personal ID, what actually happens, you're inviting the distractions and you're not going to get much done. You're able to have that dedicated ID for those specific devices. And so whatever you apply on an iPad in terms of your focus mode and all the things, it's going to be applied across every device that is connected to that Apple ID. Once you have your Apple ID set up for your business and for your creative work and all those things, the next thing is to build your work only home screen and lock screen. So let's switch over and see how this is done. So basically, once you are creating a work only home screen and lock screen, you are literally going to be removing all the non-essential things that you're going to use based on that focus mode. So you may have a focus mode for when you're being creative, whether you're editing, you may have focus mode for when you're doing deep work and research, and the apps that you use constantly to while you're doing those deep work or doing your creative work, you want to ensure that it's accessible on the home screen of your iPad. So by default, I can simply tap here where you have these two dots appearing, or you may just see one dot. You can simply tap and hold and it would show you how many screens you have. Now I created this home screen specifically when I'm doing creative work. And so I do have my calendar up here. I do have CapCut, Final Cut Pro, and I also have my Notion. But I want to design something that is different for when I'm doing work, right? And I need all the apps that I usually use when it comes to business, when it comes to creative work. I'm going to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to swipe over and I am going to choose the ChatGPT because I use that. And I'm going to drag it onto this new canvas. Once you drag it here, it opens a new canvas. And notice you're also seeing that there is an additional screen added, right? So I'm going to put I'm going to tap and hold and just drag ChatGPT here. Tap on done. The next thing I want is, because I'm using Substack as well, I'm going to tap, hold, drag Substack over, right? So I use Substack. So the next thing, again, I'm choosing apps that are focused to my work. Let me see what else I may need from in here. May need to have access to my Google Drive, but in this case, I will just bring over Mailer Note, the next side, and sometimes the pencil be working. All right. So that is the 3 apps that I want. I already have these apps here accessible, which is okay. But again, I'm creating the home screen with minimal and having less focus in it. So I'm going to tap and hold down here again. And I can simply remove this if I want, but these are the main things that I use. I'm just going to remove GoodNotes. So I'm going to say remove from home screen for now and leave it as it is. But I'm going to go to edit to the top right here. All right. I'm going to choose add widgets. And then this is where I can literally choose all my widgets. Now, in this case, I'm going to choose reminders because I need my task manager, my task list. And so I'm going to hit on this. I choose basically which layout I want. I usually use the big one because I want to see it fuller. So I'm going to hit on add, position it there. I'm going going to go back to edit. I'm going to choose add widget again. And then I'm going to look for Notion. So I can either get the access to the page, I can get my favorites or my favorites here. So in this case, it shows recent, 2 options of recents, favorites, and pages. In this case, I'm going to use pages as an example. So I'm going to add widget. The next thing I want to do is have, so I have ChatGPT. I may use GoodNotes as well. So if I tap on GoodNotes, it gives me the option to add a quick note. So I can have that there as a widget, or I can literally turn it into the icon, tap and hold on this, and just drag it into position. So these might be the apps that I just want on this screen. I want it to be minimal. I don't want it to be too much. And so I'm going to hit on done, right? So I'm going to tap and hold on this. I'm going to click on edit widget. And then I'm going to choose which list I want to appear, because I already have my maximize my day. I have content, I have importance. So I'm going to use maximize my day as an example, and it will show me exactly all the things that I have to remind me of. I'm going to tap and hold to customize this widget as well. So I'm going to click on edit widget, and I'm going to choose which page in my Notion that I want. Usually it's my content banner that I want to have access to. So it's just going to show up that first piece. This is all that I want for the work only home screen. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go into settings, and then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to go to focus. And if you notice, I have some focus modes here. I do have a focus mode called work. All right. If you do not know how to set up a focus mode, so you can simply click on the plus sign to the top right, and they usually give you defaults, but you can tap on custom. You can literally change the color, you can change your icons, and you can put in your name, and that focus mode will come in. Once you set up your focus mode, the next thing you're going to do is actually go into that focus mode, and now you have the options. These are how you customize the focus mode. So I would choose, okay, for this focus mode, I'm gonna take off intelligent breakthrough and silencing. So this is where it's actually using the AI feature, where it is going to prioritize different notifications or calls, and it's going to allow it to break through that specific focus mode. So I'm going to actually take this off, because when I'm working, I want to stay focused. I don't want to have any distractions. The next thing, I can allow people, if a call is coming through, it will actually put through that person, whether it's a message or a phone call. And there are also apps that I can include to allow or silence. All right. So if I say silence from, I can choose between the two. And I may say I just want my structured app to come through. So allow from here, allow notifications from the structured app, and it needs to be time sensitive. So because I use structured app for focusing tool, I make sure that this is already selected. And so if there is an upcoming event or a task that I need to get complete at a specific time, it's going to show that there. Right, so I have those two there. All right, so the next thing now is to customize your screen. So once our focus mode comes on, it's going to allow me to choose a lock screen. It's also going to allow me to choose a home screen. So if I go to home screen, I can either create a new page or choose from my pages that I already have. Now I'm going to choose from the page that I already have, and notice it's showing there. Now, before we get into this, let's go back a little, and then I'm going to just lock my iPad. I'm going to tap on hold. All right. So I do have focus modes. If you notice, I have a dedicated lock screen for my creator mode. So what I'm going to do to the bottom right, I'm going to tap on the plus sign here. I'm going to look for something that is very simple. So you can use color, right? And you can simply use gradient colors. Right. In this case, it could either be black, if you want to go minimal. Right. So I'm going to leave it at here. I just want it very basic. And again, this is where preferences actually come in. Use that. This is where preferences actually come in, where you can actually customize if you want to have colors on the right, if you want it bright, if you want it deep, if you want it tone or vibrant. So basically you can like super customize this. I like the deep because too much brightness for me is not doing it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to tap on add. So I'm going to customize. I'm going to leave it as it is, but I can customize the home screen. So the home screen, I could either have it paired, colored, gradient, or I can have it blurred out too. So I'm going to leave it paired for now. So I'm going to tap on done. And notice once I create that profile, it's more or less a profile, I can tap on focus. So I can link it to a specific focus. So I'm going to tap on focus here. And then I can go through the list here and I could choose which focus it is. Or I can simply go into focus settings. So that's how you can do it, but I like to add the additional customizations. So I'm going to go into settings and I'm going to tap on work. And then it allows me now to show the home. I can choose on the customized screens. I'm going to choose what the lock screen would actually look like. So I'm going to scroll down and say this one is going to be the home screen for work. All right. And then I'm going to tap on choose again. And then it's either I create a new page or I can choose from what I've already created. If I didn't create anything, then I can choose create new page. I can take away from these and I can also add to it. All right. So we're going to use the one that we just created. So I'm going to select that one and tap on done. So I have a customized lock screen and home screen. So this is where I'm actually building out the profiles. And so I'm removing every non-essential app that I don't want to see, which is going to trigger my productivity. I'm going to be able to stay focused. So we're keeping everything minimal. We're keeping everything clean. And this is the great thing about Apple is that it allows you to pair that focus mode with your specific lock and home screens. And I love this because, again, once you activate work mode, it's going to change the vibe of your iPad. I want you to remember this. It's going to change the vibe of your iPad. So you would have that clean wallpaper. You're going to have minimal widgets. And also 0 dopamine apps will not be inside. If you have social media apps on your iPad, I would recommend removing it just to help you with it. And so it would seem like you're switching to a totally new device for work. Now, when you scroll down to your focus modes, you can have smart activation. It would actually turn on. I will leave it as it is. All right. And then you can have your focus filters. This is basically how you would customize your apps and devices and how they behave when that focus is on. So if I add a filter, I can choose, okay, when it comes to messages, I can filter my messages, I can filter my inbox. I can even set the music of how it is. I can turn on silence mode and I can also set dark mode. All right. So there are actual system filters and you have app specific filters as well. Now, if you're a person, when you're working, you like to listen to music, you can choose music and then you could say use listening history and then you can tap on add. If you listen to lo-fi when you're working, this is a great way where Apple would actually recommend and mix your recently played music. If you say no to this and you just tap on add, then it will be turned off, but you can turn that on as well, and then you tap on add. So if you're that type of person who actually listens to lo-fi music, or you need, like for me, I listen to my Christian hip hop, so I may have Lecrae playing in the background or some Mali music or whatever, that is actually going to be playing in the background. So it's actually, the AI is going to actually learn from what I'm listening. All right. So I have this focus mode all set up. So this is usually my default screen that is here. Now, if I switch to work, let's see how this actually happens. What I'm actually doing, I am designing with intention. I'm setting up my iPad with intention and not through habit. So basically, I don't just throw apps anywhere. I'm not going to just have everything on my home screen. What I'm actually doing, I'm putting the high priority tools that on my home screen, I hide everything else in that library. It stays in the library. And I also set up the widgets so my device and the home screen and the lock screen and all the things look like I'm working on a totally different device. We need to train our brains to be productive. And this is great steps that you can take to do so. It's not about the aesthetics. And I keep saying this with iPads. I know once people have iPads, they want to go into the full aesthetic mode, but sometimes the aesthetic modes can actually cause distractions. And so this isn't about the aesthetics, it is a mental friction control. Meaning that if we're easily distracted, we need to put things in place. We need to design with intention. We need to set up our devices with intention so we can 10x our productivity. So if I'm ready to start my work, I don't want to be distracted, but I want to have access to all the things that I need to have access on my iPad. Swipe here or just tap. And then you see by default for me, I have recording on because at the time of this video, I'm actually recording. But I'm going to switch the focus mode. So I'm going to tap on recording and then I'm going to switch to work. And notice in the background, you notice that my iPad has changed. All right. So if I tap out, this is what I'm seeing. If I lock the screen, notice it's showing this lock screen and it's also showing that work is on. I come in and I do all the things that I need to do. I'm staying focused. If I'm doing research, I can simply come into my Notion calendar. I can pick up and I can continue working. I can split my screen and I can maybe open ChatGPT or GoodNotes and I can have the two. And notice this is minimal. There is no distractions. Yes, if I need an app, maybe I forgot to add an app, I would definitely will switch this way and I would choose another app. Now, if it's a case where for me, again, I'm designing with intention, this is a little too bright for me. So what I will do, I will simply tap and hold. I'm going to go to edit again. I'm going to choose customize. And then I'm going to choose on dark to just give it that dark mode. And notice my entire screen is now dark mode. Now, here is what I want you to do. After viewing how you can actually set up your iPad for the minimal look and feel and all the things, I want you to tag me on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, you can check the link in the description. But what I want you to do, set up your iPad for minimal focus and apply what you have learned in this video. Tag me on Instagram. Let me see how it actually looks. I'm super interested to see how you would set up your iPad home screen and lock screen for focus. If you're serious about turning your tech into a productivity system, start with your iPad or even your iPhone. And don't forget to like, subscribe if this helped, to cut the noise and dial in your workflow.